Nigeria, a vibrant tapestry of places, people, stories, struggles, and unshakable spirits. Politicians make promises, but who really holds them accountable? I'm Donu, and this isn't just about politics. This is about us. This is where we confront the hard truths that few say publicly. Hi, welcome to Nigeria Unfiltered. So in today's edition, I want to talk about chronic voter apathy, which is, in my opinion, destroying Nigeria. Now, when things are going wrong around insecurity, poverty, injustice, corruption, and the other socio-political and economic ills that can beset any country, then if it's a democracy, at least supposedly a democracy, the citizens are supposed to display anger and make it known to their representatives and to their head of state or the governor or whoever that they're not happy. But I've noticed that in Nigeria, the worse things get, the less people are likely to publicly express anger. They seem to sort of give up, as if their spirits have been completely crushed by circumstances. In fact, I'd even go so far, I'm not even sure their spirits have been crushed, because some of them look reasonably cheerful. You see them in church or wherever, and it's not like they're sobbing into they don't. I just wonder what kind of human being the average Nigerian is, that they can be fairly cheerful in the face of all the terrible things that are done to them. Okay? So, I suppose the word resilient could be used, but is resilience a virtue when you're putting up with things you shouldn't put up with? And when you even sometimes talk to people like me who have made it our business to complain on behalf of everybody. I'm a journalist, I'm a bit of an activist. So when I complain about Tinubu or Buhari or Goodluck Jonathan or anybody, or, the governor of my state, Rivers, I'm not doing it for myself necessarily, because in some instances, I actually have reasonable relationships with the authorities, with the establishment, partly because of the job I do and the fact that I've met many of these people socially and professionally. And so, once you have that personal connection with a VIP, you tend to have, on the whole, fairly cordial relationship with them if there's no personal issue between the two of you. Also, I come from a fairly privileged background, so I've known some of these people all my life. And the point I'm trying to make is that when I complain about the way the authorities are running Nigeria, I'm not doing it because I can't be part of the gravy train or because I have no access to patronage. I'm doing it because I have a strong sense of what is right and what is wrong. And I'm concerned about people who have no chance of making it in a system that's so heavily rigged against the ordinary citizen. Anyway, so last weekend in Rivers State, there were local council elections that were a complete, charade. Our governor was suspended 6 months ago in March. He didn't even show up for the election, which was organized by some military person who's, I think his name is Ibas or Ibok or something, right? And he keeps a very low profile. So I can't say he's rubbing his dictatorial role in our faces in that very obvious, aggressive way that tyrants sometimes do. But, we are being subjected to tyranny by this man and the people who brought him. And they had these elections last weekend, which almost everybody I spoke to privately agreed was a joke. These elections were a joke. But, nobody really bothered to say much in public. Even privately, anger wasn't really expressed. It was more like, don't mind them, useless people, thieves, But, there was no strong animus against what was happening, most people voted with their feet, as in they didn't even bother to show up at the polling stations. So you can take it from me that the numbers that were announced are fake. You know, there's no way that many people voted. In many villages, the polling units were completely deserted. But the point being that apathy is not enough when you're under the cosh. You have to actually get up there and say, no, enough is enough. And Nigerians don't currently seem willing to do that. In fact, quite a few people, friends and acquaintances, have asked me why I bother. They say, my dear, why are you bothering? Leave these people. Tinubu, maybe he will go in 2027, God willing. Anyway, even if he doesn't go in 2027, he will go by 2031 and we'll be rid of him. Or they will be abusing one governor or minister. But, there's no passion about it. My question is this: why do Nigerians take time so lightly? I mean, even if a bad president lasts for 2 more years or 6 more years, that's a lot of time. Many of us are not getting any younger. Some of us will be dead in 6 years' time or 2 years' time. So it's not a matter of, oh, they'll be gone soon enough. Soon enough is too long. They should be gone tomorrow, or they should be compelled to improve their performance. Anyway, you're not going to believe this, but because the people I think I'm fighting for don't seem to be that bothered, I'm beginning to wonder whether I should bother to fight anymore. You look at someone like Peter Obi, the main opposition leader, he does have passionate supporters. Some of them even go too far in their complaints about anybody who criticizes him or doesn't totally agree with him on every issue. But generally, at least they have some passion, they have some fire. And I think that's a good thing. But, even so, even in places where we know Peter Obi won the last election but was declared the loser, there's very little action in terms of anger or protest. Someone in a part of Rivers State, I won't name the part of Rivers State because I don't want to expose this gentleman, but let's just say he's a member of the APC. And he told me that Peter Obi's victory in the area he comes from was like a tsunami that took them all by surprise. And that they had to work really, really hard to overturn the result and transfer his votes to Tinubu so that Tinubu could be declared the winner of the presidential election in Rivers State. But, in that particular area where this thing happened, I'm not seeing anybody making noise and saying, Peter, this is our real president. So, my dear, as they say, sometimes it's good to read the room or look at public opinion and analyze what's going on. And you know what? I think that what a lot of Nigerians are essentially saying is activists should mind their business or leave it alone for now. They're willing to sit it out. So, even the governor who was suspended in Rivers State told us, the people who were fighting for him, to leave him alone, Jerry. That was not, we didn't ask anybody to come and fight battles for him. He didn't show up at the election last weekend in his own local government area. He has been comprehensively humiliated. He displays no sign of being ready to rally troops, not troops in the military sense, before they now accuse me of trying to organize a coup. But, he's apathetic. The generality of the demographic, the population is apathetic. I'm beginning to feel a bit apathetic. I'm sitting here in London looking at what's going on in Nigeria and wondering, why should I bother myself? Maybe this is just a phase. I'll see how I feel next week and the week after and the week after. But for now, I'm not really in the mood for activism because I don't think Nigerians deserve activism. The average Nigerian does not deserve to be defended. In fact, let's go back to that age-old quote about how people get the leaders they deserve. Because if you don't do anything about the oppression that is inflicted on you, and you don't support the people who are complaining about it on your behalf, then you deserve the bad leadership to which you are being subjected. And in fact, in real estate, we have this military man, the sole administrator. He's not supposed to conduct local government elections, but he got away with it last weekend. People like me, we had our say, but as usual, the government had its way. And the reason they behave like this is because they know what Nigerians are like. They know they're going to get away with it. So nobody should be coming to complain to me anymore about this person did this, that person did that, Tinubu is bad, whatever. If you think Tinubu is bad, stand up and be counted, or at least display more interest when people who are ready to stand up and be counted stand up, okay? Last week I complained about a new University for Environment and Technology that was being established in Ogoniland, where I come from. And I talked about how the people who were running the committee that was put together to discuss, issues like the setup of this new university, I spoke about how they had hijacked everything, started organizing jobs and contracts and things for themselves, shutting even fellow committee members out, never mind the general public. I was a member of that committee, I think, as I told you. Quite a few Goni people said to me, Auntie or Madam, na so? I said, yes, so that's how it is. That's how it has been. And they sort of like shrugged and looked defeated. That's it. That's the word I should have started using at the beginning of this video. Defeatism. Nigerians are defeatist and they are sleepwalking their way into disaster. Because if the authorities have no fear of what will happen if they continue to mess you up, they will continue to mess you up. Why shouldn't they? If you're that daft, So that's all for today. Let's see how it goes.